Welcome to the Offspace podcast. It's your host with the mother freaking most, Chuka Offer.
And it's your favorite co-host.
Dang.
As a go-offer.
He's ready.
Mar.
Would y'all pay to watch us eat? No, you wouldn't, because y'all don't pay to listen to the shit y'all actually like. Anyways.
Hey, man. People love to see me. That's a weird way to say that. And then look directly into your eyes afterwards.
Wow. Flag on the play. Flag on the play, buddy. We just got done with our sports segment. But anyways, that's a discussion. That's something that I am going to put on the front of the podcast, just so people do know about that. We are now removing the sports section from the regular podcast. We're still going to...
Don't be sad. Don't be sad because
we're
not throwing it out.
Let them know.
We're not getting rid of it. Why? How could we? To our faithful listeners who love it, we just decided to separate it.
Yes, sirski. So now every single week you are going to be receiving 2 episodes of content, and that is completely independent from whatever we do, whether it be Midweek Madness, Reflection Rooms, like all the other side content. But it's going to basically be the main podcast was split up a little bit. So it's going to be the main pod in one episode, and then the sports.
We don't even want to say it's the main pod that's split up. You know, it's going to be the main podcast. It's still going to be here where we get into all of our, relevant pop culture, music, whatever kind
Talk your shit, King.
Events that we're talking about at the time. But in tandem, we're also going to be releasing a new side series that the name is still subject to change.
I hate when hoes ask me to be on the podcast.
But for now,
stop. I'm joking.
The name, what did that have to do with that?
That did nothing.
But for now, the name is probably the Sports Space.
I really love it, by the way.
The Sports Space is going to be its own independent kind of venture for us. We really do enjoy talking on these things, but again, we just want to break it up so that we have a little bit more just, cohesive bodies of work to put out to the listeners, to the viewers.
And to be completely honest, it's gotten to a point in which, unless it's like people that are mother freaking dogs, like Cullen, Mook that you've already seen on this, just like people that we know, like the Gavins, like people that we're going to have longer discussions with because they're like the real homies, or even like people that we bring in and we just mesh with because we still have a plethora of people that we're going to sit and talk to. Like, we just like it to be split up because sometimes it feels like, because it is at the end of the podcast, when you become cognizant of the fact that you are running over a certain amount of time, like, you start to rush a little bit. When I say you like the niggas that tweet some things, they'll be like, man, bruh, niggas hate shaving their balls, and then it'll be the nigga that hates shaving his balls that tweeted it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'll be like, I'm niggas. Like, like, I don't know why it was the first thing that came to my head.
It's me.
Like, yeah, I get it. It's me. So, like, when I say you, I meant me, by the way. Exactly. Like, I always get to a point sometimes in this podcast where I feel like I'm rushing our sports section, which we are passionate about sports, but I wouldn't want to, like, jam in too much content here. And so now that we've split them up, I feel like we can have a great space to go crazy and talk about sports on one end, and then a great space to just talk about what we've got to talk about over here. And so, without further ado,
let's get into it.
How was your week, my boy?
My week has been okay. So actually, it's been a little bit over. So yeah, for the first day of February and on, happy Black History Month, by the way.
Hey, happy Black History Month.
Let me go ahead and say we're going to hope to bring you some like Black History Month tailored content in this podcast in the weeks moving forward until March. But however, getting back to how my week has been, it's been really good because I've challenged myself, and off the strength of not only my desires, but family, friends, and people who care about me trying to hold me accountable to become the best version of myself that I'm always talking about that I want to be. So getting back into shape and conquering my physical has been one of those. So again, I've been running every day and doing a set amount of push-ups.
How you feeling, boy?
Sit-ups.
How you feeling, boy?
And squats.
Let them know how you feeling, boy.
I'm not gonna lie, they were beating my ass at the beginning.
Of course they were, but guess what happened?
Exactly. So
after you do it for a little while, what does consistency do? Let them know. Paint it.
Look, what does consistency do? I think there's a J. Cole bar. It's not consistently so much, but it's like coal under pressure. What'd that make? Diamonds, That's how I've been feeling lately. I feel unstoppable. I feel magnificent. I feel like if Jake Paul was to step into the ring with me, he's not seeing me.
He can't do that.
I've been feeling just like, in all seriousness, I could take on the world. So I'm happy for that, and I'm keeping the consistency going. Every week it's bumping up little by little. I'm hoping that after the whole month, I'm not going to say the whole total miles I'm running, but I'm hoping for the last week to be doing 3 miles every day. I'm hoping to be doing 100 push-ups. I'm hoping to be doing 100 sit-ups, and I'm hoping to do 100 squats, which would be just the dream of just keeping that consistent moving forward. But again, I'm on the journey to get there, and it's been a week and a little bit into the second week, and I'm enjoying it. But that's how my week has been going. How's yours?
Hey, my week has been going really well, to be completely honest with you. We've now almost all the way caught up when it comes to like just being backlogged with certain things in school, which were my responsibility. Don't get me wrong. I was a little late to the sign up. I'm ad drop week shoddy. Like that's usually when I usually get my shit.
Man, that's my middle name.
Which is
ad drop week
horrible.
is awful. It sucks because it's not always in your control. At least in my case, it might be that you knew you were just fucking up, but I usually couldn't register till ad drop.
Oh, what nigga me is different, very different. My ad drop week woes were for the sheer fact that nigga, I just set my whole schedule to ad drop week. Like it was like, bro, you could have clearly gotten other classes before. You could have clearly done other stuff and made your life so easy. You could have paid for it by now. You could have made everybody's life easy, but no, Chuka, you chose ad drop week to get your classes so that you'd be scrambling the whole next week to do stuff. So like, this is a year of accountability. I'm happily gonna take accountability for my shit. Don't get me wrong, but because of all of the BS that I caused myself, I've kind of found a way to dial it in and create a good schedule to get caught up on the school side. I've been working a lot more. Shouts out to my dog with some of the moving jobs we've been doing. I've been working a lot more creatively as well when it comes to the slow process, but the process of us getting like tailored, fine-tuned machines when it comes to this shit and when it comes to our own personal endeavors in this as well.
I don't know if like,
so I'm just happy to be honest. Yeah. I'm just happy. I feel like I've been in a good headspace. I feel like I come on here and say this every week, but is that a bad thing? Like where I say I'm happy, you know, like a nigga feel happy. Like I feel.
Why do you have to justify it?
Like I don't feel like I have to justify it, but I do know my personality, which I need to remember this so I don't continue to get in my own way sometimes. But sometimes when I'm too happy for too long of a string of time, I start to get anxious because I'm like, bruh, like life's been going too swell for
That's me. How you sabotage it for yourself, man. Like at the end of the day, it's always going to go back down a little bit. That's just life. There's ups and downs. But at the same time, just live in the moment. Don't worry too much about if you're going to be feeling bad in the future. Don't worry too much if like the best times will come. And at the same time, don't beat yourself up for how you're feeling. Just live and try your best. And if you're feeling good, don't try and justify that to anybody.
Amen, bro. You know, this nigga speaking, bro.
At Ezigo on Twitch.
Yes, sir. Let them know. Other socials, they in the link, boy, but let them know. What's the Twitter, too?
I know.
I'm sorry, we're idiots, bro. Niggas be laughing at their own I'm sorry. Bro, this is where we're supposed to make cuts to make this a more condition podcast. This nigga pulled. I can't breathe, bro. I'm trying to get back together.
Bro, if no one's going to do it for you, you do it for yourself.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I feel like that's a good way to wrap up how our week's been going. Obviously, we're feeling good, so y'all are gonna get some happy content from us today.
Oh my god, bro, you're that nigga, bro. Just always let you know you're that nigga. Thank you, homie. Yeah. But getting straight into it, we're gonna go into heat checks for the week.
I was about to say before you skip over yours, man. You stole my heat check from my favorite artist, bro.
I saw your heat check when I do that.
You did it this time. What's your heat check, bro? He didn't steal my heat check. I can't do that to him. If anything, this is admittedly Chuka's because he's been trying to push this artist for a minute.
Oh, I was just gonna say my heat check. Pooh Sheisty dropped Sheisty season and Sheisty season.
That's my dog.
Well, Pooh, you know I'm really Sheisty. Oh, that shit's so crazy every time still, bro. I don't care what niggas say. Back in Blood song of the year. But anyways, like Sheisty season came out. That shit crazy. But the song I had to choose, and it's big bias, by the way. So you have to admit biases where biases come in. It's called Ugly featuring Gucci Mane. So Pooh Sheisty, Ugly featuring Gucci Mane.
That sounds really fun.
Well, Pooh, you know I'm really Sheisty.
I already know what kind of vibe it's going to be on if it's both of them.
Yes,
so
sir.
That's good to get into. Well, shit.
What's your heat check?
My heat check for this week comes from JID featuring Denzel Curry, and the song is called Bruuuh. The Bruuh remix. Actually, is it JID featuring? Anyways,
those two. Featuring Denzel.
Yeah. Denzel. Bruuuh remix. I'm not gonna lie, the way that those two just came rapping on that cold ass beat, just like it almost is like the beat was so cold and somehow it's like in Antarctica they somehow found a way to set it to flames. Like, that shit was too hot. I'm not gonna lie. Their bars and just the way that they be rapping. JID talking some point at, like, send him up vertically, horizontally. It doesn't matter. Read scriptures from Deuteronomy. This nigga talking about he's just having an outer body exorcism type of experience.
They barred out. They barred out.
Different.
Sure. Like, that was one that I had to get into a certain bag to listen to. And I hate when I do this to myself, but I hate when I ruin songs before hearing them, even though they're good songs. Mm-hmm. And I won't say ruin because I came back and I played it, and that thing went crazy and it slapped. It slapped for sure, the Bruuuh remix, but I think the first time I was listening to it, I was just not in the space to listen to it, and I stopped it. You know what I'm saying? And then I went back, I listened to it in the whip while driving. I was like, oh no, these niggas going. So I mean, like, definitely shouts out there.
But that's pretty much my heat check, so go ahead and check it out. And for music roundups, because I know you might have something to get into, I did have to go ahead and pay a little bit of respects to 2 pieces of music, maybe a few more as the lines go down, that I just heard recently that I felt like were really good to me. This one could have been out for a while because I saw it on a playlist that was catered for you, so I don't know if it was just really out there. But Don't Drink Dasani. Come on, that man K-Camp. If you guys haven't realized by now, this is a K-Camp friendly podcast. I'm only gonna push.
He's friend of the show. For sure. Let's call him friend of the show. Exactly. We're always happy to uplift and talk about K-Camp, no matter how much I roast you about your K-Camp love.
Oh my goodness!
Like, that's definitely someone I fuck with too.
Honestly, I feel like not having my phone is gonna make some of this music a little bit harder to remember and come back to now. So I guess I'm just gonna leave it at that one. And then obviously last week I talked about Gravity a little bit from Brent Fowles and Tyler.
And honestly, one thing that we definitely missed on the sports section, but just talking, which we can't talk about now, I guess here, is that was hilarious seeing Drake on the fucking, like, State Farm Super Bowl commercial. People were like, bro, Drake wouldn't get out of his house to give us an album, but he got out of his house to put on that red polo.
I'm like, first off, you don't look real injured, my man. You know, you look fine.
You look good. you look good, buddy. You look good. You don't look injured. Give me fucking certified lover boy.
Nah, he's making excuses with
look
minimal
at this
pictures.
Nigga smiling, bro.
Bro, that's not a I'm injured smile. That's a we're in a pandemic. Y'all are gonna get it when we're out smile, bro. That's what that is.
He's smiling because he knows we're still gonna be excited to get it regardless.
100.
But we should make that the cover of the pod, bro. That's funny.
I actually love that picture. Go ahead and put it in there.
That's funny as fuck.
But man.
But anyways, other than that, for music news, I'll get into a little bit when it comes to the drops myself for the week, or the things that I was paying attention to. Shouts out to my dog.
We never talked about Kodak's last day in.
We didn't talk about Kodak's last day in, which
and it
is
might be too late now.
But go hard.
Man, that last day in, something about Kodak, I don't feel like he has to be rapping like a super tough or on a crazy tough beat or whatever. The way he came in on like that like upbeaty kind of mellow or like just soothing like last day in really was nice, and I liked his flow. I liked everything, and I liked his message. It is a little bit worrisome though, because not in a bad way. The man doesn't have to make music, and he can pursue any other thing in life. But he's so incredibly young that I know I would love to enjoy some more years of music from Kodak. But he really made it sound like on that track that he was done with this shit. And he's just trying to pursue other things in life. So who knows if we'll really stay away from it. Just like people who are moths to draw into a flame for their things that they love. We saw it with Khabib, you know. And I'm not saying we saw it with Khabib. We're going to see it with Khabib. It was already in talks for another fight.
You've already kind of predicted that. Yeah. But with the Kodak shit, dude, all other shit aside, because I don't know that man and I don't know about like half of the shit going on with him. That being said, it's like Kodak is somebody that is very good at what he does, and clearly very artistic of a human being. So I mean, like, he wouldn't be able to put out the quality of music he does if he didn't love this shit. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell he loves this shit by the kind of music he does, and like even the way he be bopping in the studio with certain songs and the way he be vibing to it. Like, you could tell like niggas really love the music, and if you really love the music, it's gonna be hard to get you away forever. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think he's ever actually quitting, or he's really actually quitting. But you know what was interesting? So that's a big shout out to Kodak Black, 100% with that song. One thing else that happened is this week is, I believe the box ended up going, if I counted that, like 7 times platinum or something like that. So then Roddy Ricch ended up like kind of hinting at Feed the Streets 3 coming.
I need it. Gotta work with the same producers.
Nigga, we're the Roddy Ricch hive.
I need
bro.
every
like
bit
niggas turn into Trunks and Goats when it comes to Roddy Ricch. We be ready. I'm ready. So I need that. Did you hear the announcement with the Judas and the Black Messiah soundtrack? Did you see the soundtrack?
No, I didn't.
Oh, bro, let me pull this up real quick because that is something that I think you should at least just see some of the names on. Because, like, bro, this soundtrack,
It's gonna be hard not to watch that movie.
it's gonna be hard not to watch the movie in general, but it seems like we're trending more towards them giving a fuck about soundtracks again and like kind of just pushing money into making nice soundtracks. I mean, we saw what the Black Panther
saw what Black
soundtrack-
Panther
exactly
did, you know?
Spearhead. We have to be real. That it was just a 3-year anniversary of that shit too. So shouts out to Black Panther, but it's a Spearhead. Be real, because now we see. Look, let me read this track list for a movie track list, bro. And they haven't done shit like this in mass since the early 2000s/90s. Like they got away from movie soundtracks being basically some of the best albums of the year, like they used to be back in the day. And so now, bro,
when
we
Disney was running shit.
Bro, we got Her, we got Nas, we got Black Thought, Nipsey Hussle and Jay-Z are on a song together on this shit, boy. We got Hit Boy. I think Hit Boy's executive producing the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Masego, JID, Rhapsody,
Masego's on it too?
Smino,
Smino,
Saba,
bro.
BJ the
Saba.
Chicago Kid,
No
Lil
way.
Durk, White Dave, G Herbo, Nardo Wick, Pooh Sheisty, Polo G, Dom Kennedy, G Herbo, Sir Kiana Lede, ASAP Rocky, Rakim. Like, bro.
I want to say this.
Listen, you just
I
heard
wanna
what I
say
said for
this.
that track list, right?
As somebody who really enjoys music, and especially a lot of the artists that were named, in some capacity, I know, especially if it's not what you really do like that, and you're not supposed to compare yourself to others, it makes me jealous that I can't be on a track, on a soundtrack with all these different names a part of it, but at the same time, I'm just happy to bear witness.
Bro, ready to
That
bear
sounds
witness, boy.
Amazing. Only name I think that I heard that was really missing for that was Georgia Smith, but
Really though,
it's all good.
Keep it straight, bro.
It's all
Like,
good.
bro, we didn't hear Beyonce. That was one of the only names I didn't
I'm
see.
not
Beyonce
surprised.
or
To be
Rihanna.
fair, I can't say I'm not surprised because
Rihanna's
Jay-Z's
too
on
busy.
there. Rihanna, I'm not surprised.
right now. So Beyonce,
Rihanna's gonna drop music when she wants
Beyonce
to.
just gave us the Lion King soundtrack. She said, "Y'all niggas can hold that." Like,
Also
I'm good
fire.
for right now, which was incredible as well. Like, come on, we see where music's trending, and I love
Chloe
that. Chloe and Haley, let's be real, with 2 superstars. And then just moving on right along, since we are on. Oh, just so I can get to the rest of the music that came out this week that I actually cared about. Shouts out to my dog Gavin. He told me about a song called Six Print by an artist named I Swear Vezo, which is just some random. I won't say random.
I bet he
but
was
it
spitting.
a Detroit artist that one of his homies told him about. And I was just stoked to hear it. And it sounded dope. There was the single Gang Signs by Freddie Gibbs featuring Schoolboy Q. Exactly what you would expect hearing Gibbs and Q on a song. And then the 3-pack, other than the Pooh Shiesty tape, which was my favorite drop of the week, but then the 3-pack that JID gave us, he dropped the Bruuuh remix featuring Denzel Curry, Ballads featuring Conway the Machine, and Clutter, which was a solo track. So that was it for music for this week for myself.
All right. So now we can go ahead and get into the rest of the talk. So I know we had a certain conversations on there that were more of a political variety and things like that. While some of them are okay to talk about, honestly, I'd rather leave some of these people in the dirt. Like the Donald Trump one.
Okay, we'll chill on that then. So the only thing I'll say on the Trump shit as like words for myself, and then we'll just move right on, is it is crazy that these niggas actually had to go out of their way to say like, yes, even if Trump runs in 2024, his Twitter is gone. Like they had to really double down because niggas have been missing him on Twitter.
Quiet.
Bro. It's been quiet. It's low-key been quiet since Trump lost his Twitter, bro. He put out a little statement, bro, somehow, because after the Super Bowl, basically congratulating Brady, because he congratulated Belichick last time and said something to Belichick, but Belichick kind of kindly declined the offer because he probably saw like where things were trending with that nigga, and so he instantly basically made it seem like, yeah, it was all Brady that won all the win.
And that's just gonna make Brady look worse too now.
Brady had a MAGA hat in his locker. We just have to be okay.
Like I was about to say,
which it is what it is with all that. We understand.
Actually, that is his dog, so maybe he's happy.
Maybe he's
probably
straight.
stoked.
And so moving on from that, nigga, one thing that I thought was interesting was there's a movie being made about the whole GameStop and AMC debacle and everything that's been going on. If you haven't been living under a rock, because every nigga is a trader now.
Yeah, everybody and their mom suddenly acquired wealth and they're building it. And you know what? I'm excited to see the revolution because when I was talking to Chuka the other day, I was running some numbers on the money in the entertainment industry and shit, right? And seeing how much of the U.S.'s GDP came from the arts and entertainment. And you saw about 4-point-something%, right? And so, however, the finance and everything was 21%. And so that immediately made me think, especially now with everybody being traders and everybody trying to get a little bit of that cash, I'm happy because the people get to reclaim majority of the cash that's out there in circulation if they do it the right way. So I'm excited to see where this goes. Just really do your own research and start to understand historically why things happen and make educated decisions moving forward about how to operate within that realm, because if you don't, it will take your money. The investing, the stock market, all of that, it's not for the faint of heart, and you have to be wary. So go in educated and try and make happen.
And that's all I needed my nigga to say, because this was a perfect moment and a perfect segment that I needed Esgo to Esgo his thing out with this.
What does that even mean?
Be the responsible one. Like, because I had to be honest, like, truly, this is the only message that I'd want to give people about this shit, especially with our platform. Because, bro, like, me and Deej were talking about it the other day, which I'm sure you guys have been talking about too, just because y'all have a little bit more in-depth discussions, because this is an area I personally, to be fair, I'm trying to learn about, because it is important, like stocks and all of that. That's how you really build wealth long term and yada yada. I get that, so I'm trying to learn more. But truly, I could give a fuck, and I know these niggas care a lot more. So I mean, like, I know they're more versed than I am in this stuff. So, but one message that I think that we should all be painting is like the GameStop and the AMC situation is something that we just watched a ton of people, bro, like really probably like remortgage their houses, like refinance their houses, like so like put up, like if they had a car sale, sell their car. Like I'm talking about, we saw people put up money that they don't have, like emergency funds, like little things that are real life you should always put to the side into this GameStop shit, because they were being painted a free lottery where everyone was winning a ton of money, right? When the rule of thumb with this stuff, at least from my humble opinion, which once again I admitted that I don't know shit about shit when it comes to this, is that when it comes to stocks and when it comes to trading in this area, if there is a gold mine, by the time you've heard about the gold mine, by the time the masses have heard about the gold mine, it's too late.
And the thing is, that's not even necessarily
it's
true.
not all the way true, but I'm saying
it is
just
if
as
you're
an
casual,
easy rule of thumb for casuals.
Because at that time, it's going to have a lot smaller of a period to really capitalize. And so if you can be wary of that and stay diligent to know exactly when to exit your positions instead of just like letting it ride and rock and seeing what happens, then it might not be too late. But like you said, a lot of people invested a lot of money that they weren't willing to lose, and some were able to cash out.
Some went crazy.
Some were able to cash out big. Some held the line, quote unquote, and got the worst of it, because now GameStop's floating at 50 something to 60. And so from $300 something, at some point it was over 400.
There was a lot of people that bought, like DJ was telling me about, like people on the Reddits being like, oh, it's your friend from Sweden, I just bought like 10 shares at 300 something. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, dude here, I just bought in at 400, GameStop to the moon, like headed to 1,000, like all of this. And don't get me wrong, like there was potential for GameStop to truly go 700 to 1,000. Truly, there was
just so much outside interference.
There was so much outside interference and things, once again, that you can't be certain of, because this is all gambling at the end of the day. Then we just have to be real sometimes, and you have to be real, and you have to realize like this isn't for the lighthearted. This isn't something that you should just like invest your life into without understanding it. Most people should follow the Warren Buffett rule of thumb when it comes to investing, which is Warren Buffett has gone on paper saying that he's missed a bunch of great opportunities because he didn't understand it. And he's never going to invest in something he doesn't understand. And so a lot of times you need to be safer, because if you're not somebody that was checking your phone genuinely, it could 20 to 30 minutes for that 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying? Like while shit was going on, you probably shouldn't have been playing the gambling game, because like that was how quick it seemed like niggas lost their lives during this time. So I'm definitely good on that. Did you have any other words for these people when it comes to those things?
I'm not, because I do, but I don't think it's worth it, because again, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't want to be held liable for anything that anybody might go out and do. But again, if you're really getting curious about investing and things like that, just go ahead and put in some good time and effort with different websites. There's a lot of different resources, good books out there. I'm not going to boost anybody right now that probably doesn't need my money because they're billionaires. But if y'all find a book that really resonates with you, Intelligent Investor is probably one of the best ones in general you can read. Go ahead and do that. But yeah, that's all on that. I hope the movie slaps.
Oh, definitely hope it slaps, boy.
Yeah,
yes, sir. Yeah. Especially with the HBO. Nigga, I got HBO Max now, boy. We good. You know what I'm saying?
We're up.
We up. But, and so, one thing I wanted to say before we get into the next discussions is
speaking of movies,
we're going to have a really good discussion. Actually, I'm going to end everything with Trayvon So just so y'all know, we didn't miss, because I do have a discussion I wanted to have with Trayvon and with Black History Month, but we're going to push that a little bit so we could have a little bit more of a lighthearted discussion here. One thing I wanted to mention before we get into the lighthearted discussion was the Mark Cuban situation, which is interesting. We're going to keep tabs on it and we'll report more as we get more info, I think, but it is something worth bringing up to the people, is that Mark Cuban made it an initiative of his to not play the national anthem before Mavs games. He just recently changed. He was about to just dead that shit. And then the league instantly intervened and said, nah, all 32 teams have to play the national anthem before each game until the rules are changed permanently, right? Because I think from my understanding is they're not saying that it's just blacklisted because he did that. They're just saying that they're in talks to decide what to happen with that in the future. But for now, everything is standardized. Y'all aren't going to deviate.
So, first off, the Mavericks. Maybe
the Euro
except
team.
for the Celtics, this is the only other team I would expect that to not even happen, not be a possibility of.
Maybe though, because they're the Euro team, because they are the the other white teams, but they are the Euro team.
Yeah, but
so that's another country. So I don't know. I'm just reaching by
that's
way.
true. I think reaching, but it's just separating all that aside, because at the end of the day, it could just not have anything to do with race. Nor do I actually think it does. I think the Mavs just have a concrete strategy of like targeting the best players in Europe and trying to make that happen if the American pool is being heavily like looked into and already kind of poached off of, and trying to make their team work off of that. But I'm just a little disappointed that the NBA wouldn't let that happen. However, I do get doing things in unity and doing it the right way, but I don't think this is one of those that really matters. I think they're worried more so about like money and perception towards the brand from consumers that care a lot about,
because things have been falling.
And so they want to make sure that they can do the best for the people, but do the best for the people while maintaining the opportunity to keep themselves above water. Because I do get that to some extent, but to where people aren't ready to blow up the whole system to make something happen. They want to do it steadily and gradually. But now that they did that and they gave that reasoning, I need to see something happen in the future where they address it, though, because you can't just do it for nothing.
So we'll pay attention. We'll keep following it, and we'll update you guys if we learn more about that situation. And so moving right along, Mahershala Ali was announced to be the was offered the role of Joel in HBO's The Last of Us series, which is interesting, A, for the quite obvious of the fact that Joel's a white man, but B,
that boy too fine though.
It's this nigga Mahershala Ali has been so outstanding in every role he's played that I'm excited to see it. But Ezgo said something hilarious.
It's hard.
And I'm not going to make you reenact it.
I appreciate that
for sure, because we do want to be authentic. We do want to be real on the pod. But he said something hilarious. It was something about like because we did grow up in I'm paraphrasing here, of course, but we grew up in an all-white area for the most part. So like, yeah, we had whitewashed tendencies that we had to unlearn, and he was talking about some of the older ones he had.
I was gonna say, because for me, how much I'm into like superheroes and comics and stuff, especially like from how I grew up. And so like as a kid, I'd see certain things and it'd be like, oh, like let's say for example, and I'm not doing it the exact same way or anything, but I saw the Human Torch and all of a sudden they're making Michael B. Jordan the Human Torch, and in my mind I'm thinking, oh, you can't make the Human Torch this, he has to look like this because that's what Johnny was. But I realized and grew up a little bit, it's like, dude, he's not fucking real.
That's like, not a real character.
You can make him however you want to. Like, you're not disrespecting nobody
at all, bro.
He doesn't have a family that's looking at him. Exactly.
This nigga not about to call in and say hello, sir. Actually, the way you depicted me, I am a man of the Caucasus background.
It's like,
like, no, bro, it's a fake character.
Bro, there's like 18 different origin stories for these people. Like,
there's
DC, how these
since I just got into DC as much. So like, shouts out to Ezgo for always telling me that back universe.
We know that's Marvel, but he's saying for the sake of this,
Of course, I was always a little bit more than a casual fan when it came to like the superhero stuff. But when it came to my comic side, was usually more Marvel. I would watch DC animated shit though, which is always outstanding. But Ezgo's always told me about like the DC comics being crazy too and not to sleep. So I've dived into their universes a little bit more. Which, by the way, Dead Planet is, I think, one of the best things I've read in all of it, comics. Period. By the way, so that's giving a huge shout out to DC. But something very interesting to me is like, bruh, these niggas have 8,000 universes. nigga might wake up gay in the universe. You know what I'm saying? Like nigga might just wake up something else in the universe.
Shit, it could be the same universe depending on who wrote it though.
You know,
it's got a different story. Like,
bro, so you know, definitely, I think all the little arguments and the stupid shit with the races of these fictional characters is just moot points at this point. I just want to see the product. Is the Last of Us show for as somebody, because this is a challenge that they have to make when you commercialize something, you make it real. Yes, there's a cult following and there's an audience, right? But really, like the people that love the Last of Us game are gonna watch regardless because they want to tear it apart. They want to do whatever they do on the Reddits, and that's fine. Me, who's never watched or played the game, I heard Mahershala was a part of it. Now I might press play.
I feel like you're setting yourself up for failure though. When you make a movie about a video game, because I know the video gaming community, and they're not the kind of a show. But making anything like,
but remember the one with
The Witcher might have been the only one I saw
had
received somewhat well, because you know how they usually are. It's like the anime community.
But
you make a movie and they'll rip you apart.
Bro, that's what I hate about our community sometimes, bro. Because we're avid anime watchers, we're avid superhero fans, we're avid this, we're avid that. And something that I hate, and we try to change some of the perception of the communities, even though y'all always wait till Michael B. Jordan tells y'all it's okay, but it's okay.
That's cool.
Shouts out to my nigga Michael B. But anyways, like, one thing I hate about those communities is how unnecessarily nitpicky they are about shit that don't matter. Like, bruh, truly, there is no reason that you see something is video game related and you know automatically you're gonna go give it a 0 out of 10. So you pay money, like that's what it seems like with these communities though. Like you pay money or you waste a block of your time to view something that you already made your mind up about hating, right? Exactly. And isn't that's lame? That's super lame. It's like, bro, I'm gonna go press play on this 100% times out of 100 now because Mahershala's in it.
I feel
that's why I'm pressing play. I've never played these games. I've heard of The Last of Us. Duh, I have ears.
And imagine you did play it a lot and you really enjoyed it. It's like, damn, I get to see it brought to like a TV show.
You're basically watching a different universe. The same story, but different characters.
The Arrow and Flash on CW for years because I was happy to see some of my favorite superheroes adapted onto TV. And those shows were ass. Like, as a fan, though, you just got to appreciate what you can get when you can get it. So that's cool.
And then big shouts out to Mahershala there. I know this is very unorganized. No, I'll save it. Actually, but anyways,
before we fully transition, I'm gonna double check though, just to make sure.
Oh, you're good, absolutely. But just moving right along to the next discussion that we were gonna have when it comes to the viewing space. Usually not usually, but as of recent, we've been kind of talking about what we've been watching, and every week from now on, we're gonna try our best to both watch something together, like whether not literally in the same room, but something that we both watch, so we can sit here and talk about it.
A little book club, even film club, TV club. Who knows?
Bruuuh coming soon. But that being said, it's like
Patreon coming soon too.
It's like the one thing that is very interesting to me was all the buzz and the talks about Malcolm and Marie. And so I'm gonna let you go ahead and spear this because I know you had a lot of comments to say about this movie. So go hard.
I was immediately gonna give it first off, I was immediately gonna give it a watch when I saw Zendaya, just because I think she's one of the best actresses of
new generation
like this new generation and like my age people and stuff, and that's really cool to see. And I'm always going to support my generation and my people, so that's dope. However, they just did a really good job with it. I like the whole noir theme. I like the jazz elements. Everything just seemed way too smooth, but there's certain parts of the movie that I want to talk about. So rather than me just getting on my shit and just talking about this, that, and the third, I'm not like some big critic or anything. What do I know? I just like the discussions around these. What did you think about the conversations and in the aspect of the argument? Because immediately, I'll say this. She started talking. I was like, oh, damn. I apologize for not remembering his first name, but Denzel Washington's son.
See, that's what I was trying to search real quick, so we are respectful there.
And he was in a few other things.
John David Washington, he is such a phenomenal actor that even though Denzel is Denzel,
I'm not gonna lie, I can see him being
like no matter how great somebody is, like Bronny can become the genuine GOAT, but your dad's LeBron. So there are certain people on this planet that will forever call you Bron's son. You feel me? And so the way that Denzel has, the heights he's reached in acting and just become a household name of Denzel, I get that.
What I saw, I believe he can do it.
But I think this man can get there too, because John David Washington, he is crazy. Every movie I've seen him in so far, because now I've seen 3. He is phenomenal. Like, his acting is incredible. That's the first thing I wanted to say about this movie, period. Because like me, I thought the movie was personally. But I thought there were certain aspects that were really cool, really great, and I thought the acting was 12 out of 10 though.
That's
acting was so great that it made the movie good.
I was gonna ask you this though, because I want to get into that, but talking on the argument, when it first started off, immediately in my head was...
Spoilers for anybody that has not seen Malcolm and Marie. This is going to be now a segment of spoilers.
I like that. Thank you for protecting people, because I immediately thought, oh, damn, he's been gaslighting her this whole time. Oh,
I thought this nigga was the biggest piece of shit ever.
He's just making her feel crazy for no reason, being an asshole, all this. I'm like, really? But then what I liked, though, is that I was like, but is that the perspective of the movie? Is this really what they're trying to push? Because, like, that's important to showcase that, but I want more depth, you know, because that's a little too obvious. But no, bro. Because there was times when he started talking, and I was like, maybe she's in the wrong. And I was like, I don't know what's going on anymore.
To be real, bro, the way they were able to take me from immediately thinking, like, oh, this nigga trash, to, like, oh, this girl might push this nigga all the way. Because let's be clear, all right? Since Chuka's always willing to be the villain sometimes. Like, I'm not saying this anything with you. I'm just happy to be the villain sometimes. Okay. Like, truly. But it's like...
I didn't take it like that.
No. No, for sure. I just like to preface. That's my dog. For sure. Always. Yes, sirski. But it's like, there is... Bro, let's be clear. Like, I am truly on the boat of men have ruined this world. Because we've always been the one in power. So the ones in power, are more likely to... Like, we're just looking at factual A, B, C, D statements. Like, there are a lot of women that have done fucked up things. There are a lot of women that have this, that. We have to hold accountability. But, like, as you've seen, the history of...
The failures of man are done by the people in power, and the people in power are men.
And the people in power are going to influence generations, right? And they're going to influence the masses. So that's what I mean, of course. I'm not trying to display power there. But a lot of people, and what I've noticed truly is... And nobody makes you do anything, right? But I have seen certain people get pushed to a point where they do crack by a woman behind the scenes, but the person that is only painted crazy is the one who cracked, right? And so, like, this was a good depiction of a little moments that you could see, like, maybe this nigga has just been built up so much in certain areas that we're watching the cracking in the argument. Because, like, I went from clearly, like, oh, this nigga crazy toxic to, oh damn, like this nigga might be going through it. Like he might really be years into this project he thought he was saving.
You know what I mean?
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like, it's weird though, because at some form you both see. I think you end off in a place where you see how they both fuck up and how they both do care though. Because he definitely seemed like he cared a lot. He just seemed like he took her kind of for granted and was trying too much of thinking he possessed her and was trying to like fix her up when it wasn't the case like that. And like,
he was acting like he owned her because
he
was around for the down and the bullshit.
Which should never be it. But she also was just like felt very insecure.
Very insecure. The whole
time. But also you could have thanked them at the award show. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like that was a big one.
See, that was enough. That was enough to where like, bruh, this movie doesn't exist if he thanked her at the award show.
At all.
If he thanked her at the award show, this whole shit's over with. Which is also funny in the duality of couples, right? And romantic relationships. Yeah. Because, bro, like, sometimes you'll argue with your partner so much, right? So much. And you will think, like, damn, bro, like, what the fuck was we even arguing about near the end? And the thing that spurred the argument was something so fucking small, but that small thing allowed you guys to just like all of the, which is why good communication is key.
Is that small to you though?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying the announcement was small, but I'm saying like something small in the grand scheme of y'all's whole relationship will instantly start to unlock. It literally just unlocked the floodgates. Boom, open up of all the little resentments and little things that you don't speak about as often from the person, and then things just start to pour out. When truly, if y'all just had good communication in the first place, then y'all would have aired everything out and none of this would have happened.
It wouldn't have happened. And she wasn't too upfront. She was like just hoping he'd realize everything she
she was hoping he just
she wasn't saying shit. And like, which made it worse because I immediately picked up something that was so important to her that she mentioned later that she didn't immediately say, but it was like, you get somebody and you tell their whole story and don't credit them at all before they could ever tell it. That just feels like robbery.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie.
That feels like soul crushing.
On everything, like, I want to say 3 things now because I was just gonna say 2 things. Now I'm gonna say 3. One is, I feel you. I feel you because that moment fucked with me. But then, like, the way you be talking about certain stuff, I instantly thought about you and just like how you be talking about your freedom, your story, and writing this, that. Like, if I was ever in a situation, honestly, like, I feel like there's a rare amount of things that could take the light from my life, right? But like in an instant, I would have to fight for it back because I believe there's nothing that can get me down on this planet. Amen, amen. But it's like, I feel like something that would immediately sap the energy out of me, sap the life out of my light, would be someone telling my own story, not giving me credit, and now my own story's out there, so I can't even tell my own story. You can't do it again. Like that moment,
it's like they robbed you of your soul.
I felt that pain, bro. I felt that pain instantly. I was like, bro, my story matters so much to me. Because every day we sit here, we talk about what we want to add to our story, how better we want to get for our stories, like this, that. Bro, if that was just all taken away from you, and you were living just to live at that point, you weren't living for a purpose. We've made our stories our purpose. Like, that's soul crushing. But B, there were two instances in this movie. Two instances that I saw Oscar award winning acting.
I know one of them.
And I am a casual in this industry, so I want to be very clear when it comes to film. I had to look up film noir after this, like all of this kind of shit, right? Even though I learned about film noir in my film class with my freshman year of college that I failed. Like,
I thought it was just something that everybody kind of knew from like different things, like video games even, and all that kind of shit, like the whole noir thing.
Nigga, you know me in video games. If I wasn't watching your ass play the single player game and reading the fucking storyline as you read it, like this was me. If I'm not doing it. But B, if I was doing it, this was me during the story.
It said move on.
So I could have learned about film noir at some point in my life. I didn't, because I didn't read it. I didn't read anything unless it was books that I chose to read. But the bathtub scene was 14 out of 10 acting. 14 out of 10 acting. And I thought that was going to be the scene that won the movie, because on both ends, they went crazy. Because Zendaya, like, people are going to undermine, like, because the bathroom scene was John's time to shine. That was basically throw him the rock and let him go. But her facial expression, her control, and the way that she played off of everything he said in that bathtub scene, nigga, what? I got chills during that bathtub scene. The next one is the knife scene.
Bro, the knife scene. I'm not gonna lie, when she picked it up and started coming forward and all this stuff, and like music just cut for a second because, you know, playing music, and this nigga started playing. I think he started playing like his, like whatever, like they referenced earlier. And then it just kind of cuts. She starts looking crazy. It starts talking about whatever. Talking about, I
thought this was the 180 like plot twist of the movie. I thought this thing was about to die.
I was never clean. All this, all that. I was like, damn. It, like, I thought she was about to try and kill herself. For sure. Like, bro, I'm not gonna lie. The acting that she displayed in that section, combined with her performance as Rue in Euphoria, though, did make me come back. And this is the second to last thing I want to say. I really want to talk to Zendaya at some point because I want to know which drug addict she met or what she went through in life, because her ability to portray that,
too good.
It felt a little bit
too good for somebody that isn't a drug addict. So either she's secretly one and niggas don't know, because she's doing it too well. Because the way she was able to snap into it mid-scene, because you've been watching her all movie already displaying phenomenal acting.
Bro, she was acting on acting.
No, she was acting. No, nigga, this is what blew my mind as a casual in this shit, bro. I watched somebody who's already acting in a movie, so you're acting about acting.
Bro, and the thing is, you realize when you're doing it to prove a point, you have to do a better job acting in the moment. Like, for the movie has to make it seem like when you turn on that bag that you're trying to do it, that you're acting better, but you're already acting for a movie. So she somehow found a way to turn it. I'm not gonna lie, it really felt like some Game 7 type shit. It felt like some Game 7 type shit.
Give her flowers. I don't care what people say about the movie being bad. It's just some of the moments of acting that were displayed in this movie. Wow.
I didn't like it because I didn't like the fact that people gave whatever, because they wanted it to be a lot. It was filmed during a pandemic. The focal point of the movie wasn't like all these cool scenes around the town interacting with all these different people. You couldn't expect that.
It was discussion.
And what they gave, the conversation that they gave was beautiful.
And that's why I want to say, bro, it's because, like, you have to think about the things that people value when it comes to their viewing experience, though. So I understand it from the general masses, but, like, what I go back to, like, Fate Zero, the Conversation of Kings, like, when they were sitting out there, it was Gilgamesh, and it was King Arthur, Gilgamesh, and fucking what my favorite, like, one of
I don't know why I'm messing it up,
bro, it's pissing me off.
Alexander the
Great.
And that man was on his
bro.
Shit.
That is the best single 10 minutes of dialogue I've ever heard in anime. ever in anime. And so I'm somebody that appreciates dialogue. And so I knew that something, because I could tell after 10, 15 minutes of the movie that the movie's whole base was dialogue, right? Yeah. And so knowing that, I wasn't mad and I was ready to just watch the whole thing because I'm down for good dialogue, but I realized that most people are not. Like, most people are more visual about the whole thing, which I thought it was still beautifully
We live in a time
filmed.
where hella people listen to podcasts though and things. So I thought they become conditioned.
You think so? But I mean, like, I think people put their brains categorically, like, when they think that a viewing experience movie, like, I have to watch explosion, I have to watch fight, I have to watch, like, some city, I have to watch, like, the driving here, I have to watch fucking, I have to watch this, I have to watch that. When in reality, we just watched crazy dialogue for an hour and a half. That's it. That's as boring as that sounds to paint, that is what that movie was.
That shit was like 10 out of 10 dialogue the whole time. One last bit of it, because I don't want to stay on it for too long, especially as we were trying to move on and get into some other things. An important piece of that conversation, aside from their relationship, aside whatever, that was a central part of that conversation because it seems so important to him, John David Washington, in the movie, Malcolm, how it was hard to be a black content creator and not necessarily from getting recognized, because like I feel like if you make good quality content, no matter what you do, like never let the color of your skin deter you from thinking that you'll be able to make it. Because if you make something that people like, they're gonna like it regardless, and it's gonna be quality and it's gonna be good, and you're gonna be able to get it where it needs to be. However, it always gets put under the lens in some capacity and gets of like a racial issue or gets politicized, and that's what it's hard for me. Because I know I was talking about it with you when it came to the Jake Paul and Nate Robinson fight. As just somebody who likes boxing and likes like the world of like just fighting sports now. Again, I'm not like the most into it. I'm still more casual, but I'm learning. You know, I was just excited to talk about the sport, to be a part of like whatever and see like all these different things happening. But then you are watching with Community, and all of a sudden it's a white versus black. It's how can you support this guy when you have like someone from your skin tone fighting, or like this, that, and the third about it? And I'm like, bro, that was never the purpose of this. The purpose of it was seeing two individuals come into a ring and try and step into a world that they're unfamiliar with, one more so, and try and like prove themselves and accomplish what they set out to do. And like it was bigger than that. And I feel like, again, you look into the movies, you look into this, like how many black films you see being made, but majority they're about slavery. It's like, no, yeah, we appreciate it, you know, but like I don't want that to be all we get from black people. All black people feel like they have to make.
It's tired. It's definitely tired.
Tired as hell.
And there's major actors that have turned down like some of their biggest breaks that they would have had earlier in their careers and had to wait a second because they have said clearly, like, I'm not doing the slave movie. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, oh, you're just gonna have to wait till I get to a certain level that you're gonna give me these roles, you know. And so, like, I definitely feel you on that, and that is an important point just because of the way that black people are framed and everything. It's like my sister was talking about when it comes about writing, right? Like earlier in her career, like it was always wanted to be the black opinion or the black voice about like something that is going on like politically, when it's like, I like fashion. Why don't I write about fashion? Just because it's fashion, not because it's like a black person that wore this outfit, so it's groundbreaking because a black person did it. No, I just like fashion. You know, like sometimes that's all it is, and it's not much deeper. And so I wanted us to have a deeper discussion because this is the anniversary. Well, it is Trayvon's birthday, and we did pass Trayvon's birthday in this past week. So I wanted to say R.I.P. to Trayvon Martin, the spearhead of this new age civil rights movement for sure. But there was a deeper discussion to be had when it comes to Trayvon, and really, I don't know if it's really a discussion or more of a statement. I want to get your point of views afterwards, 100%, because you're more identified with the generation that I'm talking about when I say this. But it's Trayvon Martin was the first time that a lot of white people started to see that black people weren't crying wolf. Right. And this shit was real because of how much national attention it got, how like the family, like the trial, like we were all there. We all saw it. It was 8 years ago, I believe. I was 19 years old when all of this happened and went down.
I was in 10th grade.
That being said, we have
I remember the exact classes and everything, the conversations and
10th graders. Everything. So we had high schoolers, we had middle schoolers, right, who are now drinking age, who are now voting age, who are now active in politics, and you know have now watched the summers go by with Ahmaud Arbery, with Eric Gardner, with Breonna Taylor, with all of these things happening that have always been happening, let's be clear, since the beginning of the inception of the United States, but now have been more so brought to public eye and attention with social media and with the ways that the hashtags have been trending and like the views that have posed. That being said, is this new generation of civil rights, have you kind of noticed the active change in the youth, I guess, from your standpoint? Because why I ask that is because let's just be clear and let's be real, since a lot of these discussions did start in 10th grade for you, right? And I was 19. By that point, I already graduated high school. So I was already at a point in high school where I was seeing, like, yes, some egregious things, but I was okay with, like the hard R usage by white people, or like the this usage by people, and like da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I know that people say like this stuff kind of started the sensitive era because people were more on their P's and Q's. Did you kind of see that, or was your school not really affected? 10th, 11th, 12th
I think
grade?
it was harder to see from the high school I went to. I'm not gonna say them now for the fact that I'm having this conversation, just to like not do that to too many people, whatever. But it was tough because I remember specifically the class I was in, that we even really talked about it, because we didn't really talk about it anywhere. The only class that we really had the conversation from my teacher saying that it was something that he wanted to bring up was Mr. Young. And you know, Mr. Young was one of the notable like black faculty members. Like he was the kind of person that kind of stuff was very important to him, to make sure to get across to like the younger generation of kids and things, and like the importance of what's going on. And so having that discussion in class, but then also turning to people I knew as friends, and they were talking about, no, Trayvon was in the wrong, you know, and like, but having all this access to what was going on, and these people still standing on the fact that he was in the wrong, quote unquote, and there were so many things that he could have done differently, and kind of villainizing him. And I realized after that, again, after we started it was just snowballing though, how many things you kept on saying. I wouldn't say so much my generation, and my school is kind of racist, but I wouldn't say so much that like my age mates in the class of like 2015 though, but more and more as I saw the years under me, they're on it. Like they're on your ass about everything, and like making sure that you're treating people the right way, saying people the right way, and like this, that, and the third. So
no, I completely feel you. I understand there. That's why I just wanted to kind of check in on what he was talking about in that regard. So I mean, yes, with everything with Trayvon, I was happy to see the difference in the community. One, I was happy to see the difference in like the youth in general, and how once again, like we've talked about the power we place in the youth and the love we place with the youth, because we see how these motherfuckers seem to be on top of everyone's ass, always ready. It seems like 16-year-olds call out racism way more than some of the 26-year-olds I see. You know what I'm saying?
And like, the way they're calling out, I'm not gonna lie,
they be ready to
like
be
TikTok
on
or something.
It's no, the way they call you out now is disrespectful, bro. No, it's fire. Y'all keep doing it. But these motherfuckers will have the screenshots and everything, and they'll post it behind them in a TikTok,
playing
like
some
saying,
music or something.
This is a racist, by the way, government name, and like just be ready to
kill people.
And so, just for sake of time, just because we do need to kind of round up here, I was going to say a person for Black History Month that I thought was very important.
Wow.
But we didn't get to really like set it up
it's
like
all
I
right.
wanted to.
You go ahead, because I'm gonna say one too, and
so we'll say the people, and then we'll wrap up. We'll be out of here. So
and from the future, I don't know if we're gonna do what we did last year and give you like a breakdown on individual people, but we're gonna try and do a segment for Black History Month.
Exactly. We were just a little bit unprepared this week, so I will say that. But the person I wanted to say is the godfather of house music, DJ Frankie Knuckles. And DJ Frankie Knuckles was a Chicago-based DJ. It's just crazy to me because of the fact that nowadays house, EDM, like all of that music is considered white people music, when literally it was started by black people. But we've seen that with a ton of genres.
Dude, no, it's considered white people music, and to be fair, I think
because like Vince Staples, he went on.
I think we're doing it to ourselves.
He went so many people.
Breaks my heart.
He went on so many interviews like people being, because a lot of people with the Big Fish theory were saying like, Vince, why are you on beats like this? Why are you so weird now? Why are you this? He's like, bruh, I grew up in a household where my parents were from the area where house music was created. Like, so this is the kind of shit I heard like growing up. So I just thought it was cool to rap over it. Like, but he was just called the weirdo geek nigga, like rapping on white people beats and things like that for Big Fish, which a bunch of people loved and liked. So just for the white people that do listen to this, I want y'all to be very, very, very aware of who DJ Frankie Knuckles is and the fact that he is the reason that y'all have EDM music, y'all have house music, and all that music y'all enjoy. So Ezgo, go ahead and shout someone out.
Shouts out, and I'm gonna go ahead and give a shout out to the first African American to play in the NBA, and his name was Earl Lloyd, the legend.
Yes,
sir. The man was a very just good player. I'm not gonna go ahead and like really give stat comparisons because we're not gonna pretend like stats from the past can really stack up to things like now. But the man got such a good rap sheet from all of his teammates, other individuals in the leagues, and just whatnot that were, when he was playing at a time that was still like, racism was like not just prevalent because it's prevalent now, but it was blatant. And so I felt like him kind of breaking that boundary and breaking that barrier and kind of helping turn the league into what it is today is super important because I know how much basketball means to me. And so it's just cool to see that representation especially happen at that time.
Yes, sir. And so, without further ado, sports segment is in a whole different upload. So the people that like that, you'll definitely get both of them same time, same update. But my name is Chuka.
My name is Ezgo.
And this is the Offspace, baby. Yes, sir.